Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the World News Network Saturday morning live stream. I hope you all are doing super well. It's been a bit of a slow and yet crazy week at the same time, because although we didn't get a ton of perhaps, William and Catherine sightings, their kids are actually on school break, so we won't get many sightings of them. And I feel like on the other royal front, it's been kind of slow. Victoria and Daniel, Crown Princess of Sweden, and her husband are in Australia and New Zealand. We also have Princess Anne in New Zealand. And so I feel like it's been somewhat slow. And then we get the South Park episode. And boy, oh boy, was that entertaining. Not only was it entertaining, it was incredibly insightful. And so I just thought that was absolutely fabulous. Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic here for a second. So we will chat about that or anything else you guys have questions about this week. We also have the questions on will Harry or Meghan attend the coronation? They haven't told us yet, and they keep dithering on that. I have a whole video I did film about that, but I haven't had a chance to get it edited yet. And then Miss Pippa also wanted to say good morning, everyone. Good morning. Miss Pippa, do you see? Do you see? They're over there. They're over there. Oh, that was a good one. She looked right at the screen that time. That was awesome. All right, guys. So good morning. So let's go ahead and say hello to some people. Lizzie B, good morning. Sharon, good morning to everyone from me and Butter and Biscuit. Aw, your doggies. Hello, all. I think fun game while we wait. Everyone should describe their brand and don't forget to add victim to it. Oh, that's so good. I just loved it every time they did that in South Park. So kind of the whole thing was they would list a bunch of things and at the end, 3 things. And at the end, it would always be victim. And so I think it was definitely a clapback too on victim culture, which was awesome. Fizzy Pop, hello all. Oh yeah, Fizzy Pop. Tina. Wow, the sarcasm in South Park was brutal. Jen F, hello. Kate London, Yo-Yo Me. When is live stream supposed to start? It's supposed to start at 10, like right now. And I also have hot chocolate. I've been relegated to, there we go, Starbucks hot chocolate until I can get to the UK. I mean, you can order Whittard's, my favorite hot chocolate, from online, but I just was like, well, I'll just wait. And so we have Inns and Michelle and Tanya and B-level babies. LOL, South Park is the best. Lizzie B. I wonder if she has some character traits from her as well. For me, I have some of my dad's features, and my personality is 100% mom. Aw. All right. Jen F, the poor dumb prince just wants real friends to play with. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. He just wants like actual kind people around him instead of like all this brandedness that Meghan has. It's all about building the brand. We need the brand. And there was an interesting piece in the Telegraph this morning talking about how Meghan, come here, Bella. We got the second dog to get up. Telegraph had this story on this morning about how Meghan is apparently, in the process of rebranding, and she almost restarted an Instagram account, and was just for a moment, it just said Meghan, like Madonna, okay, guys, because she is Meghan. Everybody knows her that way. Although there is a funny story about, I think it's an animal shelter or something, and Meghan and Harry were like trying to adopt her or something, and they called and they said, this is for Meghan. And they're like, Megan Fox? Yeah, Megan Fox is more famous than Meghan Markle in some ways. So yeah, I do feel sorry for Harry. He's lost all his real friends, and so he just wants somebody to play the drums with. Wendy Loudon says, being Canadian, South Park episode truly and brilliantly highlighted how I felt about my country being used on this oh so special couple as part of their master plan. Yeah, apparently some people were explaining to me in the comments that obviously they used Canada so they don't. Again, it's trying to create some distance between the actual people they're mocking and the whatchamacallit and the UK. So I just thought that was kind of I didn't realize they used Canada, so it was just kind of funny to watch them. Cindy Lou, good morning from Florida. I hope we're going to get a lot of laughs in this live because that South Park episode was hysterical. Yes, it was. It was so good. It was so good. Oh, Lori Shelley, good morning from Tasmania. It's 1:46 a.m. My goodness, staying away. The South Park nailed it. I'm sorry, naysayers, but if you don't give them ammunition, they can't mock you. It's so true. I feel like Harry and Meghan just don't seem to appreciate that they give people so much to work with. I can't remember what it was recent. Oh no, it was Harry's own book. And I'm sure he was mad that people were mocking his frostbitten penis, but it's like, but you put it in the book. Why did you think people wouldn't mock you for that? It was just something like, did we need to know? And did we need to know that not only did he have this issue, that when somebody suggested he use Elizabeth Arden cream, which I still don't think sounds like a fantastic idea, that he opened it and he remembered his mother opening it to put the stuff on his, it's just, ugh, just gotta say that. All right. Good morning, Jackie and Archie and Catherine. And let's see, lots to learn. So many people. Erica, Joan G. Will they go to the coronation now given South Park show? The Telegraph article said that Meghan likely won't go. She's got so much going on, guys. She's got so much going on. She can't go to the coronation. I was like, of course she's going to go to the coronation. She needs to go to the coronation. Again, Harry and Meghan have made their entire brand mocking or trashing the monarchy, but they haven't created any original content since. And what I find very obnoxious is that this whole idea that Meghan is this uber talented person, I don't think she is. I don't think she is in the slightest. She is a hustler. So that means she's good at networking and good at making connections with people, but she's really crap at creating, really crap at creating original content. Her bench book was awful. It didn't read well. It wasn't a poem, but it wasn't really a story. It was just dumb. It had no applicability to children. What child would enjoy reading that book? No child would want that book read to them. They're just not that interested in that. So it was just, she's lacking originality in so many ways. And so this idea that she's going to become this big mover and shaker, and it's like, well, in order to do that, in order to be making the money that the two guys who created South Park are making, which is apparently they have $1 billion contract basically with Paramount. It's a little under that, somewhere in the 900 millions. But I mean, that's a ton of money. They were, I think, third or fourth ranking on entertainers this year in terms of how much money they made. And they're making that much money because they create new, engaging, original content that has a cultural impact and influence. Harry and Meghan are not that. And I don't think they ever will be. And so Meghan can make all the deals that she wants. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything many of them will really matter in that she'll create anything worthwhile. Now, all that said, they still probably want to go to the coronation because they need the press attention that'll get them. So that's why I think they'll do it. But she was mercilessly mocked. I mean, if only we could have the Duke of Halifax fart in her face. That would be, there's no Duke of Halifax, but that was hysterical. All right. Sue Parter, thank you so much for the tip. Do you think it's true that only Harry has been invited to the coronation, but not Meghan? Sue from Canada. Sorry. My eyes been bugging me. So no, I don't think so. Because again, the monarchy is smart. They look good if they invite both of them. Now, Harry and Meghan can decide not to attend. Meghan can decide not to attend. And I have a video that I filmed, but maybe I'll give a little insight into it. I think the whole thing with them is that they really want to go, but they're going to wait and confirm until after basically all the things have been decided, where people sit, who will be on the balcony, who will be in the processions. And Harry and Meghan, I think, are holding out because they're hoping they maybe get a cushier spot. That's kind of what they did at the Jubilee. And then once it was announced, that they would not be on the balcony, they jumped up and said, okay, we'll go. Because I think they were just kind of pouting and stomping their feet going, wait. If we hold out long enough, maybe the monarchy will change their mind. But they didn't. And they went anyway. So why? Because they had to go. They needed content. So Sharon Cut Run, thank you so much for the tip. Our Moetta Porter, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Arswell as well. Thank you so much. And I think, did I miss one? And we just have one more here real quick. Sandra Stevens, good morning from Utah. Good morning. Thank you so much for the tip. Sandra, you are so kind. Okay, let's go back here and see if we can find some questions. As I'm looking through, if you guys want to go ahead and put them in all caps, that would be awesome. That just helps me find them a bit. Okay. And so, I like this. Think they'll use that on their CV? Probably not. I would imagine, I mean, there were reports rumblings on Twitter that apparently Harry tried to get the episode stopped, which is like a joke. South Park mocks everyone. They have no problem trying to take anyone down. They would not give a hoot if Prince Harry was calling upset about it. But I haven't heard that reported by mainstream outlets, and nobody's citing where they got the information from. So I could see it happening, but I usually try to always report to you guys my reactions from mainstream news articles, because that way at least I know it's been through some sort of vetting process. Maybe it's not the best, maybe I can poke holes in it, but I try to always go with that rather than just rumblings on the internet, unless it comes directly to me or the source is good, just because I feel like that keeps everything above board. Jen says, I find it incredibly awesome Harry and Meghan were blindsided by the South Park episode. They had no idea it was coming out until the day before, like the rest of us. Oh, that's good. That is good. I can so totally see that, because they wouldn't want Harry and Meghan to know, because Harry and Meghan are incredibly litigious. They sue over anything. And I don't really think they have, I mean, obviously South Park, they've been, I think, sued quite a bit. Harry and Meghan may try, but then it really looks like they can't take the joke. And I don't think it's a good look for Harry and Meghan to sue South Park over anything. They should just let it go and move on. But it does throw a mirror up in their face, and they do look really bad in it, I think. I think they look terrible in it. Lizzie B asks, is Harry planning on taking the citizen test? Someone told me he is with diplomatic visa. He is the first private citizen. Second, does he even pay taxes? So he could be on a diplomatic visa, but I just don't know about it. I would say he's more of the talent visa, because he's not a diplomat anymore. He shouldn't have, if he has that as his visa, that's really, really questionable, because he's definitely not that anymore. He should have never gotten a visa like that. And because that's usually reserved for people who work in embassies and those sorts of things. They don't work for an out of work prince who's trying to make money in Hollywood. That's not what that's for. But I mean, I could kind of see it too, but he really should, I think, have a, Miss Pippa, somebody wants some attention, that he should really have just the talent visa, but I just don't know if that's what he has or not. So, oh, Christine, South Park nailed it. Hello from Scotland. Love your live stream. Thank you. Yeah, I really did think they absolutely killed it on Harry and Meghan. I just thought it was a brilliant episode and really, really great. Oh, and the question before, a couple of the comments, he should pay taxes, or at least Meghan would have to pay taxes because she is a U.S. citizen. And even if you're living abroad as a U.S. citizen, you must pay taxes. That's why Boris Johnson renounced his U.S. citizenship, because our IRS likes the moolah. So, but I'm not sure. Guys, his diplomatic status would mean also as well that he can't be arrested for certain things, which I feel like would be very, very not good if he's like living here and has no connection to his home country. Okay, so let's go down here. Harry's ghost. Harry and Meghan are milking the coronation situation. That's what they do. Yes, they're milking it for all it's worth. And again, they won't confirm until the very last minute because they're desperate to hopefully get a better role than what they're going to get. And if they don't, then they'll go ahead and confirm anyways, because they have to. They need to go. But that's it. I don't know if you can see. Okay, little Missy was popping her head up. Yeah, there she is. Somebody's needy this morning. Okay. Sue Potter says, good morning, Brittany. Do you know if it's true Harry has been invited, but Meghan has not been invited? I think I went ahead and answered this question. I think they'll both be invited, but I don't think they'll get any sort of official or formal role in any stretch of the imagination. I don't imagine they'll be part of the processions, or I don't think they'll be part of basically anything else of prominence while there, because I'm sure there'll be some sort of diplomatic reception, I think. I'm not sure. What did I think about Meghan being pregnant again? Perfect timing. If she gets pregnant again, she's a hypocrite. I mean, we already know this, but her and Harry won an award for only having 2 children and saying they would only have 2 children. If they have a 3rd child, then they're like massive hypocrites. So, I mean, I guess they could do it, but honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess everybody does love a baby, but really the babies haven't given them much bump if you think about it. In part because they keep the kids hidden. So nobody can attach to the kids and nobody cares because nobody sees them. And I think part of that goes to, I know some people are like, well, they're not really her kids and everything. I get that, but I think the real reason is she's such a narcissist. She knows that the kids will actually be, people will want to pay more attention to the kids than her. And I think that's part of what drives that too. And she wants to monetize them in whatever way she can. That's always been my opinion. I was surprised they didn't do it more in the documentary, but they did show quite a few, behind the scenes background pictures and videos. So I'll have to see. Oh, Jane asks, are you ever going to do tours of other countries? Yes. So I'm planning on doing maybe a Scotland trip in September, October next year. And then I'm also thinking of perhaps wanting to expand. I really wanted to go to France as part of the Trova trip tours, but they don't really have many French options right now. There's also Italy, but Italy's kind of different in terms of royals, because Italy was made up of little kingdoms, really. And same thing with Germany. So you do have, palaces and castles and those sorts of things. But especially in Italy, I feel like some of that is a bit more minimal, because in Venice, they didn't really have a king or queen. They had kind of almost it's not totally a democracy style, but a different style government. Florence was a bit of the same way. They had the Medicis, and then you had the Sforzas in Milan, I believe it was. And then you had the Papal States, and Naples obviously was actually kind of the big thing. So it's just kind of different, because I want them to have a royal theme. But if you guys just want to do history tour, hey, I'm good with that too. Rosa Alexander said, are we going to talk about South Park and the Instagram be wife? Yes. So apparently, guys, if you go into Instagram right now and you put at Meghan has reactivated, or not activated, but I guess you could say activate. Apparently she had an Instagram account that was briefly, and it's still live, but now it's closed. And apparently originally it had a picture of a unseen picture of Meghan as a child on it. Now the profile picture is just a flower, a pink flower. And apparently that was going to be part of her Instagram relaunch, because she joked about it in the cut when she said, oh, I'm getting back on Instagram. No, I'm not getting back on Instagram. I was like, well, honey, which is it? But Meghan is obsessed with Instagram, not only just Instagram itself, but the idea of having this curated perfect life that you can put out there and that everybody buys and nobody looks further than that. But Meghan that doesn't totally work. So she's, I don't think that's the best idea for her at all. But apparently she does want to kind of get back on there. And I think could be incredibly, incredibly true. Oh, Sozana said, I love that every photo on Kyle's front door was an actual magazine cover or photo of Meghan. In real life, they nailed the Mimi copy catting Kate with the Vogue cover. That Vogue cover was Catherine. Yes, it was. Meghan is obsessed with herself. And that's what they really were able to show, I think, is that Harry and Meghan are hypocrites. Meghan is completely self-obsessed. And she is completely 100% down on the victim narrative. So anytime somebody doesn't pay attention to her or doesn't react the way she wants them to, she's now a victim. And that's just such a good thing, I feel like, to highlight about Harry and Meghan, is that they are these massive, massive hypocrites. And it's just one of those just fascinating things. And I thought they really did a really great job on it. The whole wall of freak out and the dreaded horror music as he comes on, and all these pictures of Meghan. And then Harry and Meghan are creepily peeking at him from behind their house. And, he goes in and she's crying because, he doesn't react to her and stuff. But I just love too, Harry, because he's the same way, but a bit different. It's he is playing the drums or he's playing polo on his front lawn. And then Kyle looks at him and Harry goes, well, why are you looking at me? Don't you understand privacy? It's but you're making noise. I'm noticing you just as another human being, noticing another human being. It has nothing to do with your title. I'm just noticing you. And Harry and Meghan, even though they don't think they court the press, they do all the time. We always get these drip leaks of stories. I just remember when Meghan first came on the scene, because I'd been watching royals for a long time, we would just get these drips of stories all the time. And it was just so different. And I just knew that kind of immediately. So it was just interesting, definitely, to see that. And I feel like that keeps getting worse. All right. Jem Adams, why do you think it took South Park so long to finally mock Harry and Meghan? I just think they were probably waiting for the great moment, and this was it. This was the culmination of so many things, because Harry and Meghan right now, they're so overexposed. It's just the perfect time to mock them. It really is. They've said so many stupid things, done so many stupid things. I mean, really, everybody goes on and on sometimes about how smart Meghan is. I've never really seen any evidence that she's really all that bright. She could have played her cards so much better than she has. And I feel like this whole thing has been like just one epic disaster that's blown up in their face. And so it's just absolutely crazy to me. And South Park, I don't think, I mean, they did an episode about William and Kate and their wedding. I'll have to look it up. But I think, as I understand it, it was, I would say, I mean, it was still mocking, but perhaps more flattering. Because even if you've ever watched The Windsors, so this is the show, you can find it on Netflix. It was a British satire show about the British monarchy, which is very, very over the top. And not all the characterizations I get. But what I thought was most interesting is that William and Catherine are always portrayed as genuinely good people. They may be misguided, they may make silly decisions, and they may do silly things, but Kate always wants to do what's best, wants to represent the people and everything, and William is just desperate to help the people. He wants to be this great king, and they kind of satirize them, but at the same time, Catherine and William come out really well, whereas Harry is dumb as a board in that show, and I love it. And so I feel like, to a certain extent, we got that here too. And Jen, thank you so much for the tip as well. I can't remember if I thanked you when I first grabbed it up. Creativity Chaosify asked, do you think Archie and Lily will ever have a relationship with the BRF? Probably not. Maybe at some point they may decide that they want to have a relationship, but I think that'll be them as adults maybe, and not them as children. Because Meghan, again, she wants to keep control. Control is a key aspect of Meghan Markle. If you watch everything, what she desperately wants is control, control, control. Everybody on the same page, as spouting her narrative, her propaganda, and not looking at the man behind the curtain. That's what she wants people to do. And that's just not how the real world works. And I think, to a certain extent, her kids will perhaps recognize that at some point and want a relationship with the royal family, but Meghan doesn't. And they even reiterated this, like I said, again, in the Telegraph article I just read, is that, well, Harry wants to reconcile, but Meghan doesn't. And it's like, Meghan should want to reconcile. Once you marry your husband, that family becomes your family. So they are her family to an extent, but she treats them so poorly. I mean, as she treats her own family and pretty much everyone in her life, that's not, that she has no use for anymore. And so I just think that's incredibly sad. And that may be something, it's interesting with children. Sometimes they follow their parents' path and sometimes they rebel against it. It'll be interesting to see where Archie and Lily land. But these kids are very cloistered. They have no life, really, if you think about it. I mean, we have never seen them out with their parents, really. We saw them one time at the 4th of July parade. It was only Archie. Other than that, we've never seen them out as a family of 4. And I was like, well, I mean, I hope they go out as a family of 4 and enjoy family time together outside their home. But we have literally no evidence that they've ever left their house, the 4 of them together at once, to go do something like Disneyland. That would be awesome. So this is a great question. Mega Catcher asked, any upcoming events with Prince William and Kate? Seemed like a quiet week. It was a quiet week. Their children are on break. Oh, sorry. My sister insisted on having a landline phone. I don't know why, because nobody knows the nobody knows the number and nobody ever calls. So what we have is a sorry, I was like listening to the thing. So Catherine and William are out actually on their children's break. In addition, we have the BAFTAs this weekend. So we will see them on Sunday, and we will see Catherine looking gorgeous in some sort of very formal gown. So we may get a repeat. We may get something new. That'll be super exciting. And then, like I said, the kids are on break, and we won't see them probably again starting until next, even after the BAFTAs sometime next week. So Lori Shelley asks, I think we had to subscribe to YouTube briefly. I just watched clips all over the web. Yes. So It's technically on Hulu Max. Not Hulu Max, HBO Max. Let me just double check and see here. Because they have South Park and they have the previous episode, but not this episode yet. So let me see if it's on HBO Max. So most of the episodes, or at least every season, is currently on HBO Max. Oh, and it is on there, guys. So Worldwide Privacy Tour is on HBO Max. It is on there now. So if you have HBO Max, that's cheaper than buying the live version of Hulu, which I did, which was not cheap. So I need to get rid of that. So yeah. Oh, Tuffy says, fairly new to the Royals. Can you please list the order to the Kings? Who is second, third in line? Thank you. So I guess in terms of line of succession, I guess you're asking. So yes, so obviously Charles is king. Next in line would be William. Then after him is George, Charlotte, and Louis. So they did change how the succession works, because initially for a long time that if a son was born after a daughter, the son would supersede the daughter in terms of the line of succession. So that's why Anne is fourth in the line of succession among her siblings rather than second. And so when it comes to Charlotte, so Charlotte now is after George and then before Louis. Then we have Harry, Archie, Lily. We have Andrew, Beatrice, Sienna, Eugenie, August, and then whoever her child is. Then we have Edward, what's her name? Lady Louise, Viscount Severin, and then so James. And then we have Anne, Peter, Savannah, Ilsa, and then we have Zara, and then Mia, Lena, and Lucas. Haha, that was pretty good. And then we have, what's his name? We have Princess Margaret's son. So yes, so that's in the line of succession. So that is the most immediate family in terms of the line of succession. Obviously, Eugenie is going to have another child, and so that'll bump some of the people behind her further down the list. And this is how royal families go. So Harry was very, I feel like, attached to his status as third in line. And then once George was born and George became third in line, and then Charlotte was born and he became fifth in line, and then Louis was born and he became sixth in line. I think Harry really, to a certain extent, maybe even perhaps resented his niece and nephews, which I think is really sad. So I hope that helps. I hope that was the question you're asking. Sue M, she should have been sobbing on the floor. She's always sobbing on the floor. Do you not? Isn't that crazy? I feel like every story we hear about Meghan, when things don't go wrong, she's sobbing on the floor. And I just don't feel like I ever see her being that emotional of a person. She's so controlled and contrived. It's like, do you not realize that sobbing on the floor could be a manipulation tactic, Harry? That could be just so manipulating you. But that's just me. Brittany, you are on your way to 100K. How exciting. Been here since the beginning, and it's amazing to see your growth. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I'm so excited. So I did double check. I uploaded my first video on March 5th last year. So I'm really hoping to hit that 100K mark by then. That's my goal. Sharon, thank you so much for the tip. You are so kind. Oh, Missy Lulu says, what did Sour Face Scooby say about the South Park episode? I haven't seen. I actually do follow him on Twitter. And I actually do find it somewhat of a badge of honor. I haven't been banned yet, just because I want to make sure I can read his stuff easily and respond against it. But yeah, I haven't heard. But he always ignores the bad news. It's never the bad news. Brittany, do you think Harry and Meghan will laugh it off, or will the legal team look for a way to sue? They'll definitely not laugh it off. As somebody said, I think in the comments on my YouTube video, she couldn't even stand being called a diva. She, I'm sure, was mortified by her depiction on South Park. I mean, there's a part of her that loves that she's immortalized on South Park, but there's also, I'm sure, a part of her that absolutely hates it as well. Like, despises the fact that they don't get her. They don't understand. Nobody understands her. Because even in the Netflix show, she started off, well, nobody understands me. I was like, you've been in the public eye very much for the last 4 years. Yes, we do see you. It's not a mystery, honey. We understand you. We see you. And so this idea that we don't see her and that, she's a mystery to us. It's like, no, honey, we all know what the game is here. So then that's absolutely not the case. High Desert says, do you think Meghan will divorce Harry eventually? Yes. I've always been of the opinion they have absolutely nothing in common. They would get divorced after 5 years, I always said, but obviously now with Harry separated from the monarchy, I think that's a little less a possibility. Oh, Cindy Lou, thank you so much for the tip. What part of the South Park episode impressed you the most? I will have to say when Harry opened up Meghan's head and yelled, "Hello!" and it echoed back at him. Just the realization, because it's like, to me, it's like I've always, the more and more time comes across, I think of Meghan as vain, vapid, shallow. Like, she puts on this veneer that she's this great intellectual and philanthropist and stuff. And I'm like, really, she's all about money. That's all she cares about, is money and fame. And ergo, this idea that, Harry's having this moment of revelation, because I do think he's to a certain extent, a deeper person than she is. And I know he's been manipulated and he's done so many things, but I also think he's very lost soul as well. And I'm sure he'll maybe come to the realization one day and be absolutely devastated by what he's done. That may take a while, though, because now he would have to admit that Meghan was pretty much an awful human being. But anyways, so I think this idea, though, that recognizing the fact that Meghan is empty and that Harry is the one who maybe has better, who is more the hopeful person, you can say maybe can come back, I think was incredibly insightful. Because I think it's completely true. I think Harry has some sort of road back at some point. He may never be a full working royal. He may be part-time, what have you. But there's a way back for him. Meghan? No. Not so much. Not so much at all. Oh, Sharon, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. Oh, and Marcia B, the way South Park portrayed Meghan as an empty shell husk of a woman was spot on. Yeah, I totally agree. It's completely exactly who she is, and I'm just so glad that they decided to highlight that. All right. Do you want to get back on? Okay. Okay. All right. Which tiara do you think Catherine will wear to the coronation? Great question. I'm not sure, Shannon. I think she could wear a crown, but I'm not sure. Here's the tough thing. If you watch the Queen's coronation, it's very ornate. Everybody is dripping in diamonds and jewelry. But the UK is going through kind of an austerity crisis and energy crisis and those sorts of things. So they can't be too ostentatious. He also wants to modernize it. To a certain extent, having a bunch of crowns and everything seems somewhat archaic. And so we know Charles and Camilla will have one, and that makes sense. They'll each have a crown. Catherine and William, even though technically I think Catherine could wear some sort of crown, I kind of doubt it. I think maybe she'll wear a tiara, but she'll wear one that we haven't seen before. So I had a whole list. I don't know. I'd love to see her in the turquoise tiara that Princess Margaret used to wear. She could wear Queen Mary's fringe. She could wear the Kokoshnik diamond one that the Queen has. There's several options. I think it'll depend, though, on what the palace decides and everything. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that comes in, what actually happens. And again, because you got to think too, I don't think Meghan deserves to wear a tiara to this event. And I think that's the only reason she would go, probably, if she could wear a tiara to it. But at the same time, I could see them allowing other royals to wear tiaras. So again, I don't know. It's just really hard to make a definitive on this one, because I think we'll have to wait and see what they say. Because again, technically Catherine should, and technically William should, because he's the heir. And what I think would be really precious is if they had the little crowns, that Margaret and Elizabeth had way back in the day, and that George, Charlotte, and Louis wore little crowns. I think that would be awesome. But again, I don't know. And it would be great to see Charlotte wear, maybe not a tiara because she would be too small, but maybe sometimes they can take like bracelets or necklaces and kind of put them on the headband. I think that would be really cool if they did that for Charlotte. Did you recognize all the magazine covers Meghan was on in South Park? Yeah, I recognized most of them, and some of them did seem somewhat made up, but they were like awesome, and they were all like, poking fun at her and everything. And so I'm sure she was just devastated by that. Blue Moon, oh, thank you so much for the tip. You are so kind. You are so kind. Ooh, this is an interesting question. Renee Nowak, do you have an opinion on Doria invitation to the coronation? I don't think she should get an invitation. I mean, she's hardly spent any time with the royals, like much, much less. I mean, she's met I mean, the worlds were kind to her, of course, but I really just don't think she's, I mean, the Middletons, I feel like will probably be there, but their daughter is heir. Here's the thing too. In the Middletons' case, their daughter will be one day queen. She is now the Princess of Wales. She's the Duchess of Cornwall and Cambridge. She is the mother of a future king. So her family, I think, deserves to be there. Meghan's mother, no. I don't think she deserves to be there. I don't think she needs to be there. What does she represent? Nothing. It's kind of like this whole idea of Harry and Meghan going and then having Archie lifted up by Charles on the balcony, as a writer from the Washington Post suggested. It's like, no, why? He's like sixth in line to the throne. By the time, he'll just get further on down as the Cambridge kids have kids. What if they each have 3 children or more? He'll just get bumped down into infinity, because that's how this works. So it'll be interesting. Dr. Christine Chan, what about Japan, the royal family there, the emperor and empress rocks? Yes, I keep it mostly to Europe right now, because I sometimes feel like I can barely keep up with Europe. But yes, Japan is a very interesting royal system, more because it's so oppressive really than anything, at least towards the women. Because I mean, at least the current empress and the former empress both had bouts of like selective mutism, because they were just run down by the whole thing. So I think Meghan complaining about the British system, I'm like, the ladies in Japan, they have it much tougher than you do, honey. So I don't think she has much to complain about. Sharon, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. I like Blue Moon said, I love how South Park, they showed Harry and Meghan Meghan and Harry disrupted the peace and quiet in Montecito by showing how much disturbance they bring to Cal's neighborhood. Very true. Very, very true. Oh, I like this. Devo. I love history. Accidentally got a minor in history while working on biology degree. I love history and I study history. So I got to work on classwork this week, which will be crazy. I've got too much going on. Cindy, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so sweet. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Somebody said Choco donut Nutella. Choco Donatella. Probably a third kid to get the HRH child. That may be, and that may force, the idea would maybe force Charles to get the rest of their kids HRH. But again, they don't need it. They really don't. It's just silly. And so I hope that Charles comes out and says, you know what? No, as long as you're living there in California, why do you need a royal title? Jennifer said, what do you think of Meghan restarting the tag? So I actually did a video on this, ironically, like several months ago, I think in November, and it didn't do very well. But I will say, I think Meghan will at some point. Again, she's an influencer. That's her level. I mean, even the tag, like somebody said that the tag was, she got some deals from it. Like, yeah, like some, but she wasn't making bank from the tag. It was mediocre. Like so many things Meghan does. It's just mediocre. And so it'll be more mediocrity, just with a lot more money behind it. And I think she should have done that maybe from the jump and just tried to be like Goop 2.0 or something and try to compete with Gwyneth Paltrow instead of the ridiculous things they've done. But again, Meghan's not a great strategist. She's not great when it comes to creating new original content. So I don't know what she'll do. Have you heard the rumor that the 10 million of the R12 Foundation money came from a single donor? Is it possible to find out if this is true? Yeah, I did actually a whole video on that just last week. I think you can go ahead and find it. It says Archwell Sketchiness is what it's called. And I go over details. Yes, it was a single donor because we have it through the Silicon Valley Community Foundation or something, which is basically like a black hole is how they describe it for charitable donations, because what rich people can do is that they can give money to this charity and basically it'll sit there and then they can designate it to go to wherever they want it to go at some point. So Harry and Meghan, all these organizations, they list them all and each individual donation is listed, and Harry and Meghan got one lump $10 million sum. So it was from one person. That was pretty much all of their money was from that. And so, yeah. Okay. Blue Moon. I love how in South Park they showed how Harry and Meghan disrupted the peace in the quiet Montecito by showing discernance. Yes. Sorry. I see that you tipped. Thank you so much, Blue Moon. And I know I commented on this earlier. Yes. So yeah, Harry and Meghan definitely disrupt the peace in Montecito. And honestly, it makes it a less desirable place because Harry and Meghan, they're just toxic. They're brand killers, I feel like. And although their stuff has done well, again, it's the car crash mentality. Well, Archwell, I don't think did that well. But the reality show and the book did well because it's a car crash thing. People want to watch the wreck. They want to watch the horror. They want to watch the trash, basically. And that's what Harry and Meghan attract. But they're not Kardashian level because the Kardashians, they're huge hustlers. As my understanding, I mean, although they are big and I'm sure they have a lot of demands and stuff, they're also pretty easy to work with in terms of what I've heard from somebody. Her name is Shaun Luster. She has her own YouTube channel. And she's like, when you're interviewing them, they're present, they're there, they're chatting with you, and they're hustlers. They work hard. I mean, Kylie and Kendall are a bit more questionable, but the original three girls, so Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney are all, well, mostly Kourtney and Kim anymore, are very, very hard workers. And so they do a lot and they put a lot of effort into things. And yes, it's oftentimes trashy and what have you, but hey, they make it work. They really do make it work. Asma says, why are we only finding out about Meghan posting about the royals before she met Harry? Yeah. Have you guys noticed this whole weird Daily Mail article series they're doing right now, showing all the times, they talked about Meghan talking about Catherine's wedding, and now they have an article, I think this is from today, talking about Meghan, how she talked about her parents and everything. And so I'm like, what is the Daily Mail doing? It's interesting to see they're just bringing up, once again, Meghan's hypocrisy, and that she speaks one thing and does another, and that she can shift her narrative on a dime when it suits her. And I think that's what they're trying to show there. And so that's been kind of interesting. Shush. Shush. I like this. Harry's ghost. Harry's Todger is exposed in more ways than one. Yeah. So I totally missed it the first time I watched the episode. He literally takes his pants off and rubs his frostbitten penis against his blue penis against Kyle's window, and is has that squeaky sound, when you're rubbing windows. It's really funny. I'm like, I don't know if I would have the guts to do that, but good for the South Park guys. When he asked why on earth would Doria be invited, Catherine's parents, yes, Catherine is a future queen. Yeah. Again, I don't think Doria will be invited. I don't know why they would be. I love when the Prince of Canada says, wait, you're ethnic? Yeah. Because that was all of our opinions too. I thought she was Hispanic or Greek or something. And she thrived, I think, on people not knowing, especially earlier in her career, exactly what her genetic makeup was. She thrived on that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that to a certain extent, but all of a sudden to act like she is this victim of this profound racist campaign, and that her kids weren't given titles because of race issues. And well, the letters of patent say, no, you don't get titles. You were offered a courtesy title. You declined it because you didn't want your son to be named Earl of Dumbarton, which was very clever on the part of the queen, I have to say. But it's her kids are a pasty white because she's actually very fair, really, herself. She has this more, I would say, ashy undertone in her skin. So this idea that she was going to be this, I don't know, that she was super ethnic. I mean, all her friends are white except for her very, very famous friends. All the people she's always been friends with are white. She's, I think, hate to say it, but culturally white. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then her claiming this other culture and that she's a great representative of it and stuff like that. If I was a woman of color, I'd be deeply offended by her personally. It's you don't represent me really. You just did one thing. So Deborah asks, would you ever consider doing a YouTube video with According to Taz, P. Dina, Sue Smith, or Royal Grift? I mean, I've thought about it from time to time for sure. I used to watch a lot of royal channels and stuff like that. I did slow down on that a bit just because I didn't want to watch somebody else's video and have their idea inform what I was saying. Even subconsciously, if you listen to somebody else enough, sometimes you end up repeating them. And I always wanted it to be my opinion. So that's why I read a news article and usually I react to it. That's how I do it. But I've thought about it before. It would be funny to do like a Saturday morning panel, because what actually influenced me was watching some of the other videos of people who talk about movies and stuff, and they have live streams like Friday evening and different days of the week and stuff, with like a whole panel of people talking about different things. And I was like, well, I want to do a live stream because nobody else in the royal sphere doesn't do that. Shannon says, love the Windsors. So funny. The cartoon that HBO did was awful. I did not watch the HBO cartoon, but I did hear it was awful. I do love the Windsors because although some of it's weird, and I'm sure some of it is just British humor I don't totally get, I feel like and especially their treatment of Camilla, I think Camilla's lovely. But I mean, it's a trope. It works. And so yeah, I think it was really good. But yeah, I've heard the cartoon HBO did was awful. Lizzie B says, I had never heard of aquamarine pine flower tiara before. I miss your royal news content or royal fashion content. Yes, I do too. I don't have like the time right now. There's just so much going on. And so, because I started classes this week too. So I spend some of my time now reading, and I have to work on a report today, and I have a quiz tomorrow. And so that is pulling in more of my time than I thought it would. And so I'm just trying to figure out, I'd love to get I have some unboxing videos I've done, and I want to get those edited and everything. And I want to do some more TR Tuesdays, but I just want to double check on some things as well when it comes to that. And so in terms of a legal aspect. So, yeah, so I'm hoping to get back there because I want to. I miss that content too. Sue Potter, hi again. With Meghan's, and thank you so much for the tip, Sue. With Meghan's write-up on her blog about the RF back in 2017 has resurfaced. Could that be used as evidence in Meghan Markle's lies case? Meghan Markle's lies in Samantha's case to prove she knew about the RF all along as premeditated disparaging of the royal family. I think that could be a possibility. I hadn't thought about it that way, but that's definitely an option. And Meghan, again, she runs her mouth a bit too much. And she lies, I think, so much. She can't keep track of her lies. That's part of the problem. And so she says she didn't know anything about the RF, yet she wrote a blog post about Kate's wedding. And so it's like, well, clearly you knew about it because you talked about her. You called her Princess Kate. And so clearly you were aware of it. And this idea, once again, that a intelligent, worldly woman, again, if Meghan was 19, like Diana was, answering some of these questions, as she did in her engagement interview, I would maybe buy it. But you're almost 40, and you're telling me you never Googled your partner, that you have no clue who the royals are, basically. Well, then we don't have the same tabloid culture. Well, we don't have quite the same, but it is pretty similar in a lot of ways. And you were an actress. You paid for a paparazzi to take your pictures that he could not sell because nobody wanted to buy your pictures. So it's just this whole thing where it's like, okay, you gotta stay on one track here. And this need to, again, it's a narrative driven, narcissistic driven. I need to have this Instagram perfect veneer thing is what she's aiming for. That she strives to, that puts her in it really messes her up, I think, in so many ways, because she ends up getting hit with dumb things she shouldn't have done or shouldn't have said. And she has no one else to blame because she's the one who said it. All right. Kateri says there is news that SP South Park got a 4 p.m. spot to do 4 episodes off. Would be the best timing for new episode. Coronation? Yeah, probably. I would imagine they do an episode on the coronation. That wouldn't make sense. Apparently, because the animation is so simple, they can actually their lead time is much smaller than other cartoons, so they're actually able to do stuff really quickly. So it'd be interesting to see what they would do. Ruth Castillo says, any celebrity hide their kids the way they do? I mean, there are celebrities who do. I think Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they don't show their kids a lot. They did take their kids to see Ryan get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but that was, what, 4 years ago now? They only had 2, now they have 4. So I think they're pretty good at keeping their family private. I mean, we do get pictures of their kids from time to time when they're out and about. But Harry and Meghan, yeah, we've only gotten that one picture of them at the 4th of July thing. I mean, because you almost get the sense that the kids live in a bunker mentality, which I don't think is good for any child. Do you see Samantha's lawsuit as having an ulterior motive, like unveiling their lies? I think that's what drives her in a lot of ways. And I think it is frustrating to see somebody lie about things. It's like, I know that's not true. And it's like, why are you lying about that? That's not true. And so I think that may frustrate Samantha in a lot of ways, as it would so many other. Any celebrity? Oh no, I did answer that question. So Jen asked, do you think there will be any royal tours this year? Yes, there's a high probability Catherine will be going to Australia. That's been talked about multiple times. I imagine it'll be sometime in the fall. And so we'll have to see when that happens. But I'm planning on being there, because now that I say that, now I'm a little worried, because it's like, I want to do a tour in Scotland or something. Maybe that'll have to be earlier September, because I want to make sure I can be on their tour, hopefully. Oh, and I do have somewhat of a good announcement. Well, an exciting announcement is that I may get to interview somebody else here pretty soon. They tentatively said yes. We're working on a date and a time, but I won't say the name until I have it confirmed, because what if it falls through and I would feel so sad. But I'm very, very excited to interview this person. It's going to be an awesome interview, because he is well known within the royal reporting world, and he's gotten some really great scoops. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him, hopefully very soon. All right, Sharon at Cut Run, thank you so much for the tip. You are so kind. All right, Amanda Brodel, thank you so much for the tip. You will be so welcome when you visit the UK. Love your channel and love South Park as well now. Please don't bring Harry and Meghan with you when you visit, though. I will try not to. They're some of the most obnoxious human beings you can possibly imagine. I feel like they're so obnoxious. They're really obnoxious. And they keep insisting they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I just want to go, please stop doing that. You're doing yourself no favors by telling us how fantastic you are all the time, all day, every day. Please stop. You're not. Please just let it go. Just let it go. And just try to actually create content. Don't tell us how great you are. Actually do something. I think that's what I think aggravates people too, is Harry and Meghan talk all the time about the great work we're doing, but we really see no impact of that. I mean, the rumor is, to a certain extent, you could say, is that the donation Archibald got could be just from Harry and Meghan. And so literally 77% of the budget for Archibald could only be raised by Harry and Meghan giving money to their own charity, because A, it's a tax write-off for them, and B, nobody else is donating. Susie Booth B says, I still will have to wonder how you have a huge royal wedding and you're marrying a prince and only one person shows up for the bride. That in itself is quite telling on their wedding day. Old news, but yeah, it's still, I think, just something was weird. It's just weird. The palace knew it was weird, because apparently they tried to they were trying to get Meghan. They wanted her dad there. They wanted her to invite more people. It's like, why is only your mother there? It was just so bizarre and weird. And even, her friends, one of her friends who she's no longer friends with is Jessica Mulroney, who played really a huge role in her wedding day. Then you also have, I feel like the relationship or friendship with George and Amal Clooney has cooled quite a bit. And so you could almost put an X through the people on Meghan's side of the aisle as who she's no longer has any relationship with. And I think that's just both quite sad. And honestly, at the end of the day, I know that Jessica Mulroney stepped out of line on social media, but that's Meghan's friend. So you got to think to yourself, Meghan is also that mean girl too, because really you can only be, not that you can only be, but I feel like good friends like that. Meghan can only be friends with people who are like her. I think she's friends with people generally who are the desperate for fame types. Those are her friends. And Jessica Mulroney fit that. There was another woman who fits that, and all of her friends are like that in that space. And so, and then they're all social climbers. They're all desperate for fame and fortune and so many things. And that's Meghan's level. Martitza Morales, thank you so much for the tip. Martitza, you are so kind. Jen asked, who do you think Catherine will wear for the coronation? She'll wear Alexander McQueen. I have no doubt she'll wear Alexander McQueen. It would actually be kind of cool if she reformatted or redid to a certain extent her like wedding reception dress. That would be cool, and not have the short little sweater she did, which so screams the 2010s, the early 2010s. Like that little half sweater she has. It's so dated. But I think she, and I can speak that way because I did have one, so I know that they're dated. But I think she'll wear Alexander McQueen. That's what she wore to her wedding. That's what she's worn to pretty much every major life event is Alexander McQueen. I think I'm sure they're working on it right now. Lori, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. Teleria asked, Brittany, is there a prenup? Probably. I would imagine there's some sort of prenup. But I'm not sure. Probably something of whatever they brought into the marriage, they take out of the marriage, but then now you have all this complicated stuff. What I hope for Harry's sake is that in the United States, Harry does have the ability to actually make money, which means he needs a visa. And I hope that's the case because what I would worry about is that Meghan technically holds all the cash because Harry can't make money. So basically all the money goes to her and is in her name, because then that could just wipe out Harry. How will Harry and Meghan respond to being removed from the Commonwealth website? I mean, I'm sure they're irritated because they think they did such great work for the Commonwealth. And Meghan should be a huge part of the Commonwealth. It's just crazy. And I really wish they would just take them off the royal family website. I think that would be even better. But what can you say? Hi, Brittany. Did you know even the Norwegian RF are 80 in the line of succession of the British? I was surprised to read that. Yes, the Norwegians are very, very high in the line of succession. Most of Protestant Europe is somewhere in the line of succession for the Brits. I was thinking it was actually the Dutch, but the Dutch are much farther down. I think in the couple hundreds or something. But yes, the Norwegians are very, very high. I mean, because Victoria was considered the grandmother of Europe at one time. She had a child in basically every major European household, or grandchild who married into every major European household. So she, in terms of Protestant Europe, she's the grandmother of that in many ways. And so, yes, the Norwegians are high. I can't remember quite who in the line of succession would be. I just don't know who the intersector is who puts them there in such a high position. But yeah, they are definitely there. Actually, Princess Alexandra of Monaco was on the British line of succession for a period of time, but she did go ahead and she dedicated her faith to the Catholic Church. And so because of that, or decided to practice Catholicism instead of Protestantism. So she was removed from the line of succession in the British royal family. She was quite far down. So yeah, the Hanovers are still technically in the British line of succession unless they decide to be Catholic. And so same as a lot of things, I think somebody else also, somebody higher up in the Brits, I can't remember now. Jen asked, do you think after his book, Harry will lose Frogmore? If he hasn't lost it yet, I don't know if he will, but they have a rental agreement for a period of time. But I mean, it's just since empty. Like, what's the point of it? Alzi Guard says, hi, Brittany, you said you never seen South Park before the Harry and Meghan episode. Are you going to watch now? I might watch some more now. I was thinking it was mostly just crude and crass, but I did love the little message. So I thought that was really sweet. Hi, Brittany. Have you heard anything about the court case with Samantha? So yeah, I did read a little bit about it. It just doesn't seem like, I think her case is probably really pretty weak. Her lawyer said, what did he say? Oh, this isn't the strongest case in the world. It's like, you never want to say that. That's like, ugh. Yeah, never say anything like that. You don't want to put it in the mind of somebody else. Even if the judge has to look at it from a legal sense, you never want to tell the judge, hey, our case isn't that strong. You want to say something to the effect of, we believe we have a really robust case, but we're looking forward to interviewing Harry and Meghan to increase our understanding and confirm some of our suppositions that we already have based on the evidence that we've obtained so far. That's something you would say rather than saying, well, we know we don't have the greatest case in the world, but if we can talk to them, it'll get better. That's not a great way to go about in my opinion. So, and defamation cases are very, very hard to prove. It sounded like, from what I could gather, that I do think that the finding freedom bits that Samantha alleged will be thrown out. What she said in the Oprah Winfrey interview may go forward, but because Meghan did not publish personally finding freedom, Omid Scobie did. Yes, she was a huge part of it, absolutely, but she did not personally publish finding freedom, and that's the difference. If you personally publish something, then that changes things. But again, I feel like Meghan just made the mistake of thinking that her family didn't matter and she could say whatever she wanted and they wouldn't say anything. And I think that's hasn't been the case. And named Archie after the cat she poisoned with grapes. Oh, I don't know about that, but I wonder too if it's Archie comics. But I mean, I don't know why you would. I read Archie comics as a kid. I don't know why you would name your kid after Archie Andrews. There's so many better names. I don't like the name Archie. No offense to anyone, it's just not my cup of tea. Okay, John Alvarez asked, what's going on with Meghan and the old billionaire Getty? Yeah, even the Telegraph mentioned that, and I'm like, I don't know if I totally get that. Again, she's good at hustling and good at getting meetings with people. I guess she wants to maybe get a donation out of the old guy. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me. Martitza asks, hi, love your channel. Is it true that they're expecting their third child? Also, do you think it's true they're looking to sue South Park and Sasha Walpole? I could see them trying to sue South Park. I think that's a losing battle. And I think that shows that they have literally no sense of humor whatsoever and that they can't take a joke and that they are as thin-skinned as everybody says they do. It basically confirms everything they've said in the South Park episode if they sue them over the South Park episode. That's what I think. Sasha, no, I don't think they can sue Sasha. Harry mentioned it. She wanted to get paid and get her 15 minutes, and who can blame her? Because Harry got paid a lot of money for that dumb book. So I don't fault her at all for wanting to get her own payday out of it. Are they expecting their third child? I don't think so. If they do, they're massive hypocrites because they got an award for having only 2 children and saying they would only have 2 children. So if they turn around and have 3, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot in a lot of ways. And in addition, so there'll be hypocrites again, which also confirms the South Park episode. And also, Meghan has a tough time losing the weight after her pregnancies. And obviously she's a lot older, so it's a lot harder. And so I don't think it behooves her to do that because it takes her like a good 6 months to get back into decent shape. Doesn't have to say any shame, but I was just surprised, especially with somebody who has the access to resources that she does, that it took her so long. Have I read any Fergie's books? I have not, actually. I have not. So it would be interesting to read them. I got Kindle Unlimited. I got a Kindle to work on some of my grad school stuff lists. So maybe some of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. Okay. So just trying to go through here. So many questions. I always feel so bad I don't get to everybody's questions. So I'm sorry, guys, if I don't get to them. Jane Bryan says she could become a low-level goop and sell Harry's frozen Dodger-scented candles. Oh, that's good. Oh, man, that's good. Oh, that would be hysterical. They could be like modeled after the South Park thing, which would be really funny. Yeah, I think like goop and stuff is her level. And not even that. I mean, I don't even think the Tig really did that well. I mean, it did well, but was it gangbuster? No, because I've read through it and her writing is really, I think, mediocre. She uses like even her speeches and stuff. Her writing does work better as a speech, but it's overly flowery. There are too many words and adjectives in there. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a fan at all. So, but that's about her level. Do you think Harry and Meghan will do a reality TV show? That's what Netflix wants. I don't think Netflix is convinced that they can do their own original content in terms of scripted shows. I don't think Netflix has a ton of faith in that, to be honest. And so I think they're like, hey, Let's do a Kardashian style, keeping up with the Sussexes and Harry and Meghan again because it's a control issue. Meghan wants control. Meghan wants a veneer. Meghan wants everything to go her way. And so to have something like a reality show where she loses control to a certain extent, and you have to open yourself up to mockery to a certain extent. I don't think Meghan can do. I don't think she can do it. As Carter asked, when do you think Harry and Meghan will finally go away? Meghan, never. Unless she's truly just utterly humiliated on the international stage. This is all Meghan has ever wanted, is fame and fortune. And while I'm sure they're raking in the money, and she's more famous than she could possibly be, she's also so thin-skinned, so narcissistic that it's kind of become its own probably demon in her life too, in a way. I mean, I'm sure she wouldn't call it that, but she immediately went from the good side of fame pretty much to the really bad side of fame very quickly. And so I think that's a struggle for her, is that she has this enormous fame, yet none of it's going her way in so many ways. So I think that's a big challenge for her. Oh, Martizia. Hi, love your channel. Is Meghan pregnant again? Do you think? Oh, yes. I did answer your question earlier. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think they're pregnant again. Oh, Lizzie B, thank you so much for the tip. Live count 2,400. Yes, I think I reached my highest one after something Harry and Meghan did. I think it was maybe Harry's book. So, sorry. Just trying to look. If the Harkles would knock off of their antics, then Brittany would have time for other projects. LOL. Yes, that is true. That is true. Harry and Meghan, just because my channel does react to the news, Harry and Meghan drive so much of the news. So I've tried to do more positive stories and things on Catherine and William. Oftentimes they don't do that well. And I think it's because so many people are focusing on Harry and Meghan. And I will say as well, because I'm not on the ground reporting directly on Catherine and William, because I'm here and not in the UK. I think that does kind of limit what I can do to a certain extent, because the Royal Family Channel, they are, I think, associated maybe with ITV or some sort of bigger news outlet. And so they're there at every single royal engagement and they post the videos. And I was like, well, I can't do that. So can't really compete there. So commentary is what I do and focus on. And I want to do other things. But again, I still have a full-time job. I have this and now I have school. So all three of those things are a lot of work. So that makes life challenging in so many ways. But again, I'm hoping to go full-time here pretty soon, although I keep extending it back, which is, I think, good. It is good, but it's also like, I can't wait. Marion says, who is in history is your favorite king, queen, or king? I always like the Queen Mother Strathmore Rose tiara. I've always loved that one. That was the one I wanted Catherine to wear. That's how I first sort of started getting interested in royals again, was the idea of which tiara she would wear. Because I used to check out this book at the library. I actually did a high school report, guys, on the Cullinan diamond that's in the Imperial Scepter and Crown. That's how much of a nerd I was about the jewelry. And I always loved the Strathmore Rose. I was always hoping that would be the one, but it's too delicate. But when it comes to favorite king and queen, I'm really liking Eleanor of Aquitaine. I think she's fascinating. She went on crusades and she lived into a very old age. She was married to the King of France and then the King of England. So Henry II, they had 8 children, I think it was, her and Henry. And she helped her sons try to lead a coup against their dad. She was imprisoned by her husband for like 10 years. And it just sounds like she's really just a bombastic, awesome woman and just really take charge. And it's like, the whole quote, well-behaved women seldom make history. She's one of those who I think embodies that in a lot of ways. She was like well-behaved and like not at the same time. And she was a regent for one of her sons and she outlived quite a few of her children actually, which I mean is sad in a way too. And so I just think she's a really fascinating figure. And a lot of her descendants went on to become kings and queens and emperors and empresses themselves. So I think she's a really fascinating figure. I'm glad Brittany doesn't collaborate with other YouTubers. It gets too cliquey and exclusive. Brittany is fresh. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go down that route because, there's some aspects of places that are interesting. But I'm never, never against collaborating or something. But at this point, I like what I'm doing, so it works for me. So I really do like it. Emma says, "Oh, thank you so much for the tip. You are so kind." Yes, Alexandra Joho says, Meghan isn't the first ethnic woman in a royal family. Princess Angela of Liechtenstein is an American Panamanian, and she is beautiful, and it drives me crazy when people say Meghan was the first. Yes, absolutely. And of course, there are also like historical rumors, like I think it's Queen Charlotte, who they portray in Bridgerton may have had some African descent in her. I mean, there's just all sorts of questions, and I think, again, this is... I just don't think, I think there's a lot of things that we don't know in history. And I think this idea that the only thing that matters, basically the only thing that Meghan has made matter about herself is her skin color. And I just don't think that should be something anybody really cares about anymore. Because aren't we supposed to be all equal? Just equality. Crunchy Dragon. Oh, thank you so much for the tip. Jill's View says, how many blue suits do you think Prince William owns? LOL, I wish he'd branch away from blue sometimes. Yeah, I wish he would kind of. Actually, who has a great fashion sense as a male royal is Crown Princess Victoria's husband, Daniel. He usually does like the double-breasted suits, so he always looks very dapper, and he just does mix it up quite a bit. And William is kind of plain, and so not to say anything bad about William, but just saying his outfits all look the same. Hold on, just 1 second. Okay. My sister's dog is so funny because she wants to get up on the couch, but she can't jump up on the couch. And for you to get her on the couch, she literally gives you her behind and then jumps like a little bit in place. And I'm like, well, that's not how getting on the couch works, but we will make it work. John Alvarez, did you see the new documentary called Prince Harry, the Spare Prince on YouTube? I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to check that out. Okay, we'll wrap up soon here in a minute, guys, because I know it's getting a little long. Jotter says, Brittany, have you heard Harry and Meghan are going to the Met Gala in NYC, apparently? I've heard that rumor a couple of times. I won't totally believe it until I see it. So they could go, they could not go. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't gone yet, so... Tori Meyer says, do you think Princess Charlotte will be wearing a tiara? How's Pippa doing? Pippa's doing good. She still worries about her paw, so I usually have to get her off the couch. She can jump if she wants to, but she worries about her little paw. I talked to her and I said her name and she woke up. And so when it comes to Charlotte, what I think they'll do, maybe, I hope it would be really cute to see her wear Her Majesty's, the Queen Elizabeth's little crown, or maybe Princess Margaret's from way back in the day. I think that would be so cute if they still had those. If not, I don't think she'll wear a tiara. She's too small for one. What they could do, though, is they could take a bracelet and make it a headband. I've seen them do that in other royal households, so I think that's a good possibility. And so Christina Haglund says, in terms of the interview, Tom Bauer or Valentine Lowe. Yes, it is one of those two who I'm chatting with his publisher on. So I'm very, very excited about that. And once I have that confirmed and definitely done, I will let you guys know. I'm so stoked. It'll be awesome. Katie Godskowski. Sorry, I'm so bad at pronunciation, guys. Thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so sweet. All right. And Harold, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. Tilleria. OMG. Oh my God. Brittany actually commented on my comment. Thank you for making my day. Love your show. You rock. Well, thank you. I'm so glad. I always feel bad because I don't see everybody's, and it's hard and I feel bad. And so I'm so glad that you enjoyed that. I saw your comment. That's awesome. Hi, Brittany. Have you done your family tree to see if the royals you may be attached to? Yes, I have. And while I'm not attached to a royal, my dad's family, he was adopted at birth by his biological family. We were able to trace that back. It goes all the way back to the American Revolution. And so I'm actually excited because I'm hoping at one point, because they say according to his ancestry, there's a particular part of the UK that the family's associated with. So I'm hoping to go to those areas and kind of see if I can maybe find like a connection or that the family name is used there quite a bit. Patricia Hume, thank you so much for the super sticker. All right, did I miss anything? Tatiana says, Sam is okay if the case is out, can refile with Netflix. Yeah, I think there's other options. And again, as long as she has the money, it would be awesome to keep Meghan in litigation because that's what she does to everybody else. Kind of turnabout's fair play, but also that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So Martin says, Tom Bauer said he'd love to know what Sophie Westig said to Meghan in limo they shared in Windsor on the day of the funeral. You must ask if you ever meet him. I'll ask him and see what's kind of fascinating, I feel like, about Meghan and Sophie and Meghan is that when they were going to the Queen's lying in state, is that the BBC was following Catherine and Camilla's car. And then when Sophie and Meghan came by, like they immediately pulled back to a wide shot. You could just tell that as much as possible, I think in respect to the Queen, they were trying to ignore having Meghan on camera as much as possible. Renee, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. All right. Trainwreck. Ooh, great question. What are the top 3 things to do in Edinburgh? I would say going to Edinburgh Castle, obviously. The Palace at Holyrood is awesome. And just walking around the park there, my place, actually, I could walk by the palace. And so that was a lot of fun. And going up Princess Street. And I would say, too, it's like from Edinburgh, you can do, there's just so many little things to do there. But I really enjoyed my day trip up to Loch Ness. I thought that was a lot of fun. And you get to hang out and look for Nessie. And there's this really cool castle that we started out from that was ruins. And I love ruins. So it was just so fun. Lori Bell says, do you think Harry and Meghan watch South Park? Do you think they will sue the creators? I don't think they'll sue the creators. I don't think they have the grounds to, but I'm sure they're aware of it. And I'm sure Meghan hated every second of it. But at the same time, she kind of loved it too. That's who Meghan is. She loves the publicity, yet also hates it. Kristen says it's so exciting to watch the younger royals grow up. Princess Charlotte looks more and more like her grandmother Carol. Yes, she does. And I feel like she does look like the Queen, and obviously Sarah Chateau as well. So those Windsor genes are strong. And I feel like the Middleton genes are stronger in George and Louis, which may bode well for them if they have a full head of hair as they get older, unlike their dad. All right, Miss Pippa, should we make sure we got all the comments? Okay, let's all right. Okay. We got to the end here. I tried to get to all the end of the comments and seeing if I missed anything. And so, guys, this was just so fun. And Sherry says, I want a wah t-shirt. Wah t-shirt. Yes, that would be awesome. And yeah, somebody else said for Edinburgh, it would be great to do a ghost tour. I would love to do one because those I think are fun. And so anyways, guys, that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Pippa wants to thank you too. And hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, and we'll look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye. Say bye-bye, Miss Pippa. Oh, yeah. Attack of the kisses. My goodness. Oh.